Time to be on set. Hello, and welcome to this special at-home edition of The Scoop. I'm Jeff Hamlin. Contingency Engineering Response Teams, or CERTs, are comprised of volunteers from multiple business lines within NAVFAC Southeast that deploy usually within 24 hours in response to a natural disaster. Hurricanes are a major threat to all of our locations in the Southeast. It's the CERT's job to bring installations affected by storm damage back to full mission capability as quickly as possible. They do this by performing damage assessments to base facilities and provide that time-critical data back to regional commanders so they know where to focus repair efforts. Traditionally, CERTs use pen and paper forms to record damage assessments. For this hurricane season, the CERTs will have a Mobile Geographic Information System, or GIS, iPad that will be used to supplement the pen and paper forms. Today, we have NAVFAC Southeast Production Officer, Lieutenant Commander Nate Chenarak, to tell us a little bit about this new gear. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
How will the Mobile GIS system help the CERT team conduct their mission?
So with this app, essentially these folks will have an iPad when they go out in the field, and it's supplemental to the paper form. So in terms of if it wants to be used or not, so it should be a quicker means and a cleaner way to capture information.
Will the data collected on the iPad be able to be transmitted back to the EOC quicker than using the traditional pen and paper forms?
Yes, it will. So the great thing about this device is that once there's a laptop that we have that syncs the data, it's on its own network, and so there's essentially a router attached to it. So when the devices come back within range, all the individual has to do is just press the sync button. It automatically updates the server, which the laptop is running off of, and then it'll also update any other devices that are connected to the network at that time. So people on the damage assessment team can see which facilities have had the damage assessments conducted, so there's no confusion.
Back in March, you held a mock hurricane exercise using this new gear. What kind of feedback did you get from the CERT team members?
So we did receive feedback. We actually had 2 sessions where the individuals that have been on previous CERTs and completed damage assessment forms, they provided feedback in terms of what would be the best way to show information, and then also from the standpoint of on the other side, when we send that information to the estimator, they can capture the information, and it's in a clear way that they don't have to really raise many questions and ask questions back out to the field. And so those issues were brought up, discussed, and adjustments were made on that program accordingly.
Thank you so much for taking the time to speak to us today.
All right, thank you.
The CERT will also be able to call in air support this hurricane season with the Unmanned Aircraft System, or UAS. This tool will allow the team to inspect taller structures and roofs that may be inaccessible because of storm damage, keeping the team members safe. Back in March, NAVFAC Southeast held a mock hurricane exercise with the CERT to test the operational capabilities of the UAS. Our second guest today is GIS Program Manager Josh Coates, who has been a part of the Command's UAS program since 2012. Thank you for joining us today.
Hey, thank you. Thanks for having me.
How would the UAS benefit the CERT in conducting their mission?
It brings a lot of kind of added value to that deployment team. Being able to kind of quickly get an eye in the sky as soon as you land, or get to an installation after a major natural disaster, get the bird in the air in a couple minutes, and then really you're getting that first look at, where's the damage, what's the extent, what are some unsafe areas, kind of identify those hazardous areas. It's just a really good tool to get that first look. And then the quadcopter, just being able to get assessments of rooftops and hangars and facilities that are typically harder to access and reach with, from a safe distance, and keep people out of harm's way.
How many people does it take to operate a UAS, and what are their roles and responsibilities?
So we like to operate with 3 always on any kind of mission we do, whether it's training or not. We like to have what we call a vehicle operator, and so that's the person that's really responsible for command and control of the aircraft, maintaining the systems, pre-planning all the flight details, and then just monitoring it through that entire operation. We have a vehicle spotter that works with him. His or her responsibility is basically to keep eyes on the plane at all times, that visual line of sight that we always need to maintain. And then they're also looking out for any sort of obstructions or hazards to the mission that could cause any sort of issue. So they're just constantly communicating with the operator. And then the third position is just kind of an extra set of hands to offload data, go charge batteries when needed, speak to any kind of spectators that might show up and want to talk and see what you're doing. Just keep the attention away from the people doing the operations.
Was there any key takeaways or lessons learned from the exercise you performed back in March?
Yeah, so always the biggest lesson learned was really just the small nuances and things we weren't familiar with the new systems. These are brand new platforms for us that we just received training a few months back. So just little things that we hadn't encountered before that we had to try to adjust for on the fly. Just knowing and being redundant and making sure that we bring an extra system, bring an extra ground control station, sensors, whatever it is, make sure that we've got that ability if something was to happen to continue on and execute the mission.
Well, that's all I have. Thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us today.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you.
With boots on the ground and eyes in the sky, the CERT has some great new tech this hurricane season designed to keep them safe and accomplish their mission quicker than before. Let's hope they don't have to use it. Thanks for watching. Stay safe and stay healthy, NAVFAC Southeast.